where's that screw I dropped? Oh, there it is. That never happens. Cool. Alright, today we're going to do a quick install of a Ubiquiti Unifi G5 turret camera. In case you don't know, these cameras come with a base like this, which has a 4 screw hole pattern, and it works fine on a flat surface. But today we're actually going to be installing onto a gutter downspout like this. So we have some hardware here to help us with that. The other issue with these cameras is that because they have this big pigtail, it becomes a question of, well, what do you do with that? Do you just let it hang out outside, or do you try to enclose it in some way? And the Ubiquiti's general suggestion is if you're mounting it to a wall, you just go ahead and drill a big fat 7/8 or 1 inch hole and feed this into your wall, but not everyone wants to put such a big hole in their building. So we've got some hardware to help with that. So this by itself is just an enclosure which you can screw to your surface, again 4 screws, and then you can hide all of your weatherproof connector in there, and the base screws to that enclosure using 4 small screws, which are included, and that would work fine on a flat surface, like if you had it on a house or a building and you wanted to keep your cables contained here instead of trying to bring this big fat pigtail through a hole in the wall. To mount to a gutter, we have another part that helps us. So this mounting plate mates with this enclosure, and this mounting plate opens up a bunch of possibilities. It has these passageways built in, and they're sealed, so we're going to have to punch out the ones that we want to use, but basically let you feed zip ties or stainless steel hose clamps through. There's also a bunch of mounting screw holes which you can use. These two on the outside, for example, will match up with the 2 holes on a single gang electrical box. And when we design these things, the holes are all there, but they're all sealed on the other side, so that keeps it weather sealed and a nice clean presentation. Same thing with these zip tie slots. So to zip tie this to our gutter, we're going to have to punch those slots out, which, let's see, this screwdriver might be a bit, I think the screwdriver is a bit too big. Let's use the next size down. And so all we're going to do is, there's little, you can see that there's these little indentations, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to use the outside too. We're not going to use the center one for our installation. So you can see I just punched down, and this little piece will break out. So I'll do that for all of them. I'm actually going to use a knife to, I should have done this first. If you just put a little cut in those corners, it all breaks apart much more easily. So that would have been the first thing to do if I actually read my own instructions on this product. Okay, so that material just clears away like that. See if we've got these wide enough. Okay, looks good. So for our install, it's going to go like that, and the zip ties going to feed through those passages like that, and it's going to tie on like this. So let me take that back out for now because we need to look at how we're going to wire this. And like I said, these don't have to be plastic zip ties. They can be stainless steel hose clamps. And there's also another set, you can see here, an inner set of slots. And again, you punch those out from the back. And I don't know if you can, there you go. If you hold it up to the light, you can see where all the punch outs and screw holes are. And that would let you strap it to a pole or something smaller. But what we need to do is think about how the wire is going to come in. So assembled, it's going to look like that. And I want the wire to come in from the bottom. And there are two wire paths available. We could just drill a hole and make a little U cutout in the bottom of this. I think I'm going to use one of these. I think I'm going to use this one here. And you can drill these out with a 1/4 inch drill bit or 6 or 6.5 millimeters. If you're doing any plastic work, it's really nice to have a step drill bit. These drill plastic just brilliantly, really reduce risk of cracking. And they make such a clean hole. So I really encourage you, you can get these pretty cheap. I think you can even get them at Harbor Freight, like $10 for like a set of 3. And they drill metal and plastic just perfectly. And if you've ever drilled plastic, you've probably had something crack on you. Step drill bits avoid that. So go out and buy some if you don't have some of those yet. And okay, so I've drilled that hole. Now I'm going to open this up a little more. Should probably go get a real knife instead of using this blade. Actually, here, this is a great tool. One of these little clippers. That's actually much better than a knife. Okay, and for this installation, we're going to use Ubiquiti tough cable. And so there, it looks like that'll fit nicely. And then this will go on top, and then our zip tie is going to sneak behind that. So this is actually going in an existing installation where I have a bullet camera. So we have an existing cable with a connector on it. Now, if I didn't have a connector on the cable already, I may not need to make that U shape. I could have just drilled this out and fed the cable in through the hole and then put my connector on. But in this case, we've got what we actually have is an old G3 bullet mounted to a gutter using one steel hose clamp, and it's kind of crushing the gutter. So we're going to replace that with one of these G5 turrets and reuse the same cable and connector. So let's see. One thing we can do before we head outside is to install the G5 turret base to this enclosure. And to do that, we're going to use the outside set of holes. The inside set of holes, in case you're wondering what that's for, is you can actually stack items. We make several different types of mounts for these turret cameras, and you can use the inside set of holes to stack them, make them longer, and do all kinds of weird things. So, all right, for now, we're going to use these number 4 screws, and I'll probably speed this part up. It's a little fiddly getting screws into these holes, but I'm going to mount the plate here. Sometimes it helps to turn the whole thing upside down. These are stainless steel screws, so that means they're not magnetic, so they won't really stick to the end of your screwdriver very well. And doing this inside really beats going outside and dropping screws, especially these small screws. But we always include at least one extra screw with these parts, just in case you lose one. Now, when we go outside, we're going to use these longer, these are 5/8 of an inch long, and they're white to match the mount. We'll use that to screw this together. So, but we'll wait until we go outside because we need to get this cable through. All right, let's head outside, and it's getting dark, and it's cold and dreary out, but we're going to try to do this anyways, and we'll be right back. All right, so here's our existing installation. This is an old G3 bullet, and the first thing we need to do is take this apart. Access to that latch. There we go. All right. So you can see what I did here is I used the included mounting hardware, and I just kind of made it work on this gutter, but as you'll see in a second, it basically put a big old dent and scratch in the gutter. Now the gutter was really low quality beforehand, so I wasn't too worried about that. So this is Ubiquiti tough cable. So this is the mount that comes with the camera, and it's designed for like poles, like a smaller pole. I just forced it on this gutter, but it left a dent in the gutter, it scratched it up. So we don't normally want to do that, which is why I like to use zip ties. Oh boy. Finish removing that after I shoot the video here. Just slide it down for now. But yeah, this leaves scratches and everything. This gutter's installed backwards already, and it's not in very good shape, so I'm not too worried about it. But we'll do a nicer job this time around. Let me get this cable to the other side. Okay. And I have my bag of goodies here. There's the mounting plate. We'll grab a couple zip ties. So I think I'm going to hide the zip tie connector here on that side. Oh, that's nice and solid. Okay. Great. And this cable, let's clean it off. It's going to route up like that. And as long as this section is clear, we're good. We're good. It's okay that it's hitting the zip tie a little bit. So that's going to connect like that. And I just need those 5/8 screws to do that. Stick them in my mouth. It is friggin' cold out here. My hands are freezing. Didn't pick the best day to do an install. Actually, it was probably 20 degrees warmer earlier today. But things changed. That gap isn't closing up for me. There we go. Sorry if things are a bit dizzying. I'm trying to work quickly here. And there's an extra one, just in case I drop one. Oh, there, I dropped one. That's why I put an extra one in the bag. I did not do that on purpose. And number 4. Now, this mount is going to enclose everything, including the waterproof connector. You should not assume that the enclosure itself is waterproof. I mean, there's nothing really sealing. Those are just flat fitments. There's nothing sealing them like a gasket or anything like that. So, all right. So next we have the camera and the waterproof connector. Let's put the camera back down. Ooh. Okay, so that goes on first. Can't feel my fingertips. Okay. And then that's gonna slip over. Good. Come on, buddy. Like that. And then this has a particular way of getting through. There we go. Good. Let's grab the camera. Go ahead and click the connector in. And I like to squeeze the back part down last. Like that. Okay, now we can feed everything into this enclosure. It's going to be snug, but it will all fit. Especially with that stiff, tough cable. Alright. Come on, buddy. Okay, so in this video I'm not going to show the video or setup of the camera. This is just to show the mounting. And so we're pretty much done here. Let's grab those clippers. On the way out the door I made this sheath. It's a professional sheath out of tape. Cut these short. And oh man, I messed up the sheath. There we go. And the last thing we'll do is just tuck some of this cable back. All right, I'm gonna get rid of this off camera, and that's it. That's the installation. I know maybe using zip ties outside would be frowned upon, but these will last a long time. They're not in direct sunlight. They are supposed to be UV resistant, but they'll last for years. If I need to come back and replace and put a metal stainless steel band clamps in, I can, but I really like that these don't scratch the gutter. Now I know this gutter is a piece of junk, but in most situations I don't like doing metal here because it scratches the gutter. And lots of times I use these zip ties for temporary installations, where if I don't know if a location is going to work, if it's going to give me a good angle, I'll put it up temporarily, and then after a few weeks of testing I can move it. And these zip ties you can get at hardware stores. They're 3/8 wide or 10mm zip ties. You usually find them in the electrical aisle. So alright, that's the end of that video. That's mounting a Ubiquiti Unifi G5 Turret Ultra to a gutter with the pigtail and connector enclosed from the environment. So thanks guys, I'll see you in the next video. Later.